Record. Hello, everyone. My name is Sebastian, and in today's interview, we're going to present Jose Ignacio Gonzalez. He's an historian and a student of the International Affairs at the Central University of Venezuela. Jose is an expert in the US elections and their implications, and now I'm thrilled to have him here to share his insights on recent developments in the political landscapes. Telling that so, with Donald Trump having won the 2020 election and secured a majority in the Senate, Jose will help us understand how this victory will shape the legislative agenda in the coming years. Also, to dive into the key issues he believes the Donald Trump agenda and administration will prioritize. So, welcome, Jose Ignacio.
Thank you for inviting me, Sebastian.
So now the first question that I have for you is the next one. Now that Donald Trump has won the 2020 election and the Republican Party holds a majority in the Senate, how do you think this will influence the legislative agenda over the next few years?
Well, Sebastian, it depends on if Donald Trump managed to consolidate his victory and the unity of the party. Right now, the Republican Party is kind of divided into factions. You have one that is more neoconservative, they call them the rhinos, more traditional conservative Republicans, and on the other hand, you have the MAGA people, the Make America Great Again, the ones that support Donald Trump and his foreign, especially foreign policies. And one of the manifestations that will be more present, this debate will be in the confirmation of the cabinet. You have, for example, that his proposal of GATT was rejected. Many senators said that they will not accept it. And we have still to see if Tulsi Gabbard will have the green light from the Republican Party. That's basically the principal challenge that he will have to overcome, mostly because the most neoconservative members of his party might ally with the warmonger Democrats in the party. And it's controversial to say it as well, but you have, for example, Kamala Harris that was allied with the Dick Cheney's, for example, that are some of the most warmonger people in the United States. They're highlighted, green-lighted, sorry. For example, the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq,
Exactly.
were ones of that promoted the idea of the weapons of mass destruction, etc.
So perhaps he won the first battle, but we need to see what's going on next, right? There are
Yeah,
many
exactly.
challenges, inside challenges of his own party.
He has one great advantage, and that is that he has the mandate. And when I say the mandate, yeah, of course, he won the chambers, he won both the chambers of the Senate. I mean, he won the popular vote, but also, and this is very interesting, the demography of the electoral distribution is fascinating because we were told that he was very unpopular with minorities, and that was not the case at all. He won the Latin vote. He didn't want exactly the woman vote, but almost. He got 48%, according to the last info I got available. The Muslim vote, surprisingly, he was fairly more popular with Muslims than the Democrats, especially because the handling of the Palestinian-Israeli question was terrible.
Yes. Exactly. And even though in these elections, he also won the popular vote in general. That was a major difference from the 2016 election, a very big difference. And also, another thing to say is that this time it's no re-election left. So this is the last mandate of Donald Trump. So this time his party perhaps won't be that condescending with him as they were before. So let's check it out to that.
Yeah, in his first mandate, he has to placate his own party in order to govern. In this case, the only people that he has to satisfy are his voters. And he has a carte blanche, if you pardon my French. But yeah,
Okay,
he
okay.
has far more liberty to act as a president in this term.
Okay, thank you very much for that amazing question. Now, going further to the second question that I've prepared for this interview, what would you tell about Trump's back in office? What key issues do you expect to be prioritized by his administration, and how might they affect both domestic and foreign policy?
Well, Sebastian, the key aspects of his policy was the key to his victory was the economy. And on foreign aspects, it's very interesting because his international policies go around the idea of America first, which is to say, to diminish the international interventionist and the warmongering of the party and the United States, but also to diminish the state itself and to lower the budget in order to balance it. I have the data of the national debt of the United States under Joe Biden, and it is
Okay.
31 and a half trillion dollars in debt. Of course,
Whoa,
that's unsustainable.
that's a
He needs
huge
to
amount.
lower the public expenses, and one of the easiest way to lower the budget is not by eliminating social programs, but rather by firing half of the useless people that he had hired in his government,
Whoa, that's
especially
also
around
worse.
the FBI and Intelligence Department and NDA, the National Endowment for Democracy, and many other of his foreign agents.
So the debts that Joe Biden left to the current status, it's huge.
Obviously, not Joe Biden alone. The
I
public debt in
mean,
the United States
his
is,
entire cabinet, his
yeah,
entire cabinet, yes. Whoa, that's a very huge how can I say data. And how
yeah.
do you consider the foreign policy of United States through Ukraine and Russia will be like in the next month from January onward?
It depends a lot if Donald Trump managed to get his rhetoric or to be true to his rhetoric. Basically, his electoral promise was that he will achieve peace on day one. That seems highly unlikely, but at least he claims that he is trying to do so. If you listen to Kamala Harris and most of the Democrat establishment, the discourse was much more warmongering and escalatory, to
Escalatory,
put it
okay.
in some terms.
Okay, yes,
On the
I'm
other
agree with you.
hand, he opened the door for a diplomatic mm, deal making that is exactly what made him popular, not as a politician, but as a public figure before he ran for president.
Exactly. And what do you
Yeah.
expect the connections with Mexico, for example, will be like with these problems in the border and in the past administration? He was very tough, economical speaking, with economical agrees against Mexico and Canada.
I'm going to say something controversial, but you may think that most hard policy on migration would be unpopular with the migrants, but that's an oversimplification. Firstly, most of the migrant population that is in the United States is there legally. The ones that are permanent, they are, of course, fluctuant population. If you go to again, to the demographics, it's funny because you will think that the Democrats will have the Latin vote. No, well,
Exactly.
they got the female Latin vote,
The
but
female Latin.
overall, Donald Trump won the Latin vote because security, the economy, and many of the aspects and the consequence of uncontrolled migration also affects the Latins that already live in America. So I would say that, yeah, he will probably implement more tough, sorry, measures and border controls, but that will not necessarily be an unpopular policy. I don't think it will.
Okay, astonishing answer, Mr. Jose Ignacio. And now the third and final question. As Trump begins his new term, what major challenges do you foresee that could impact his administration, especially in terms of public opinion and bipartisan cooperation?
Well, I already kind of answered it with the first question, and that is the problem of the divide of the Republican Party. That can be a issue, but also can be an opportunity because he represents change in a way that we have never seen in the Republican Party, maybe in the 30s. That this was the big swap between the left and the right in the Republicans and the Democrats. The Democrat was the slaver party, and
Yes.
the Republicans was the party of George Washington and etc. No?
Yes.
In this case, yeah, it's taking a populist will say someone that dislikes Trump, but populism is not necessarily a bad thing. Populism, to have the working class masses taking charge in the government is something that is, at the very least, a breath of fresh air. That being said, Donald Trump there were, sorry, 3 assassination attempts against him in less than 3 months. So yeah, his biggest issue will be dealing with the establishment. And there is a Democratic establishment, of course, but there is as well a Republican one. I don't know how he will manage to swing around that waters. On his first mandate, he really didn't do that much cleaning the swamp. Of course, he was limited. He
Yeah, he
has
was
to
very,
his
very
role.
limited.
Yeah, his cabinet was at war against him.
Yes.
It was impressive. But this time he got more experience as a leader, and I at least hope that, yeah, he indeed can bring some of the rhetoric that he brought on the electoral campaign. And if he failed to do so, well, at least we know that his rhetoric is popular.
Exactly.
So I will have an eye put out on who will be his successor, because maybe Trump don't accomplish what he promised, but eventually someone will.
Exactly.
I have the faith on the MAGA.
I got the faith
Yeah,
on
I
the
have the
MAGA.
faith on working class Americans. They have to take
Perfect.
their country back.
And so this time in this period, there won't be no more executive orders because in his first mandate, he only could govern using executive orders because the Senate and his own cabinet was most of the time against of him, as you already said. And another thing that will be crucial in this new mandate will be to demolish these walls of democratic how establishment, as you already said,
Yeah.
and also the establishment on the states, because every state is separated from each one and is autonomous of their own decisions. So the principal war against Donald Trump will be on democratic states.
Yeah, you can also see that on the demographics. He basically won the rural and the sub-rural areas, but the coastal areas, California, New York, those are the states that are harshest. Now, in terms of public policies, for example, abortion, he never promised to ban abortion. What he
No.
has promised is to allow the states to have autonomy on that decision. That is why he uh, caused the judicial precedent. He eliminated it, so the decision is up to each state, which is far more democratic than what we had previously to that.
Yeah, he
I
took
don't
the
think
debate
that
on the states.
that he will have many pushbacks around that. The liberal states will allow abortions, and the conservative state will vote against that.
Exactly. Well, Jose Ignacio, so far those were my questions. I want to say thank you for all this experience that you shared with us. And well, some final words to our audience that you want to say?
Only peace and working class Americans can make America great again.
Thank you, Jose Ignacio. Have a good night.
Thank you again for inviting me.